Hello and welcome to my channel. This is 626 Craftworks. I have been 3D printing a little over a year now. Just recently started doing some YouTube videos. Um, so I would appreciate a like or subscribe down below or both. Um, if there's any comments that you have, please leave them down below. I know last video the audio was a little lower, so hopefully this sounds better. Today I'm going to be showing how to do articulation Bambu Studio. But other slicers will probably be able to do that too. Orca slicer and Prusa slicer should have similar mechanisms. You don't need Fusion 360 or Tinkercad or Blender. You can do some simple articulation in Bambu Studio. Now, the downside is you won't be able to see it move in Bambu Studio, but uh, you can at least do the articulation. So let's get started. Okay, so I have Bambu Studio up. See me moving to another window as I did this earlier and audio wasn't hooked up. So it pays to do a sound check if you're doing videos. So let's do this. We're going to create a series of blocks, some articulation. I want to resize this because it 25.6, which is the default, is not real good for measuring. So let's do 20. That'll make it easier to do some measuring. So what I like to do is first make sure this is centered. And now we're going to add a torus. So what's a torus? Well, it looks like a lifesaver ring, but it's just a little ring. Now it brings it in kind of odd, bigger than the cube. So let's resize this down. I'm going to leave it at uniform scale just to show you. So we can do that down to 10, but that's too thin. So what I've been playing around with is 3.5 seems to be a good thickness. So if we take a look at that, it's a nice size around and nice thickness. So the reason that I do it this way is that when I've done this before, instead of adding it as a part, I like to add it as a primitive because if you resize this, it can mess with the cube too. Or if you move it, it can mess with the cube too. So what I do, move this over. I still think that there is a way to do this with the fairly new align feature. There we go. So now that's center. So now, because this is an object and not a part, I can't move it up. So let's go ahead and merge these. Now they are one object. So now, for the objects, I can select the torus. Before I do that, let's double check the size here. So the cube was 20. Torus is 10, so we should have 5 sticking out. And we actually have a little over, so we could probably move that in a little bit. So let's see, it's 38.9. Let's just do 8. Take a look at the size. It's 25. That's exactly what we're looking for. Want it to be halfway out. You don't have to be that precise. You can have it sticking out a little bit more. That gives it a little bit more room for articulation, but we'll just go with that. but you say, hey, that's at the bottom. That's not really going to work. Yeah, you're right. It's not going to work. So I'm going to see if we can do the align. Didn't have much luck with this before. Um, yeah, there's not really an align feature that I did. So this is another way to do it. Kind of stinks because it's going to move it. That's okay. There's a way to do this. I did it. Center. There we go. So now, actually, let's just this back out instead of just 138. You know what? I think let's move it a little, give it a little bit more room. We don't need that much embedded in there. It'll provide a little better articulation and won't interfere because a half a millimeter isn't going to be too bad. So we could go with this, um, but we would need a ring on the other side. But what I discovered is that I did this earlier. I had pieces that had rings on the end. We don't want rings on the end. We want a flat surface on the end. So what we can do is we will clone this and let's this to block two side rings. Oh, it only has one, but change block side. So now let's take our torus. Let's move this out. Take our torus. Now we're going to clone just the torus. What you can't tell is that it's overlapped, perfectly overlapped. For some reason, when you clone a part, it leaves it where it is. But clone an object or an assembly, it puts it off to the side. So what we can do, first we want to rotate it. So if you stop, you go to these inner ones, it'll go at certain angles and stop there. So you can come out here and it'll stop at those, or if you come in here, it won't stop anywhere, or out here it won't stop anywhere. You get a little bit more um, where you want to be, but I like it being precise. It tells me this is exactly 270 degree rotation. So now take a look at that. They are overlapped. Actually looks kind of neat, but that's not what we're looking for. So let's rename this. I like to rename them. Makes it easier to keep track of. Um, downloaded a lot of models that have the same name over and over and over again. It's just hard to keep track of. So now know that this is sticking out five millimeters, and we know that this is 20 millimeters. So if we want it sticking out 5 millimeters the other way, or actually 5.5, should be able to do. So if we do 118, that's 20 millimeters. It's not terrible. I think we should do 18. No, sorry, 118, because we're moving it back. Pay attention to the arrows. That's key. Always forget that. Plus, we'll move it the direction the arrow is pointing. Minus, we'll move it back. So now if we take a look at this, it is 35 millimeters. So 20 for that, 5.5 there. So we could move this a little further. 5.5 here. So we want 5.5 here. So 20, 25.5, 31. Because what? So let's move this. 17 is going to be too much. Let's see. Yeah, 31. It's too much. So 17. We're at 31. So 5.5 exposed, 5.5 exposed. That's 11. 20 for the block. It's 31. So now we have a block with two sections of articulation. So let's mesh boolean that. I'm going to go ahead mesh boolean this one too, because we don't separate anymore. So we want to clone this one. So let's clone this. Best way that I've found to do this is center it. So now that is perfectly centered, both of these. So if we look at the two side rings over here, it says it's centered. It says it's centered. So sure looks centered to me. So now we can move one direction. So if we want some overlap, know that this is 31 millimeters, but we want 0.5 millimeter of overlap. So I'm doing my math. 8 dot x mistake y. Let's see, 7. Let's add it. Let's move it to the center here too. So let's just do one too far. So 6, still not enough. Gotta account for the ring. So 158. Let's do that. Might be a little too close. We don't want it touching here. So let's bump it out to, and discovered is if you click off of it, you can see through there. You can see a nice gap there. Nice gap there. It still looks awfully close there. We want to move it a little bit. There might be some room there, but let's see if I can. Yeah, that's awfully close. Let's this one out. Rotated. So let's move this one out a little. Let's do now. There's a nice gap between the ring and the block, between the two rings. So now can clone this again. Let's do 2 more copies just to make it fun. Let's center that. She'll put it there. Center this one. sit there too. Well, know that this is 154. So if we this one to 4, now it's perfectly centered on there. Well, this one is 28. This one's 154. So we want, what is that? 6? 36? No, 26. So we want to move this one to is right. There we go. Take a look at that. Look at that. It's awesome. So we've got that one, that one, that one. Still have one more. So we could just move it out that way again, but let's do 2. Yeah, it's pretty good. All right, so now we've got our 4 blocks. Now to center this bit, the reason that this is off is because there isn't the center is taking into consideration the full width. Well, this isn't as wide as this because it doesn't have the extra loop hanging out. That's why it's off a little. We can just keep playing with it. Um, so that's probably off about 5 millimeters. So 20, let's go 21 down. So let's do a little bit. Let's do still a little too close. 70. Right. It's pretty good. Okay. That's great. So we've got the end, but we still have this one over here. So what do? Clone it, which we'll put it right next to it. And now rotate it that direction. This one. Now let's move this one down here. Oh, look at that. That won't work, will it? To rotate this. Okay. It's not going to let me split it. Okay. That's okay. We can fix that. It was pretty simple to. So let's just get rid of this one. Primitive. Let's take this down to 20. Let's add a torus. What's that? Should we do? Clicked. Size this to 10, 5, rotate this. That's right. Gotta do the center first. It's got to be, can't do that with changing it. So now, center, center. In here, does it show it to us, is it? Oh, it put it all the way down. That's not what we want. I guess the alignment, I thought, there we go. That didn't work before. Okay. Oh, because I centered it, it probably put it all the way down. So now it's through. Yeah, I know it's not right. Just want to get it so that the two loops are together. Looks pretty good. Can move the cube a little closer. Let's take a look at the size of the assembly. The size of the assembly is 26.3. We were 25.5 before, so we could move that a little closer. Looks like it's off too because this was 120. So let's see. Let's just get rid of the entire assembly. It's not, it's actually not too bad. Still want to move the cube. The cube assembly is 26.3. We want it 5 point. So assembly is 25.6571. That's what you think. Look at that. It's a good name for it. About blockchain. Yeah, you can call it blockchain because it's a chain of blocks. But doing anything special with it. It's just a crazy little creature. So that's it. Hopefully that made sense. A couple minor mistakes in there, but we worked through them. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Let me know what you think. We'll see you next time. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.